Steve Jobs, Elon Musk, Mark Elliott Zuckerberg. These successful entrepreneurs are confident, elegant, and charismatic public speakers, and they've all made great achievements, completely changing people's lives. But consider this: what were the ingredients of their success? Persistence? Bravery? Wisdom? All of these are accurate, but there's an equally important ingredient often overlooked, which is luck. Today, we'll look at 3 true stories. Although they are real, the twists and turns of the plots and the luck of the protagonist puts even science fiction to shame, and you'll have a whole new understanding of luck, which is an annoying but lovable thing. The first story goes back to 2008 in San Francisco, when an international conference, the Industrial Design Conference, was about to begin. Many designers from around the world had gathered in San Francisco that hotels across the entire city were suddenly full, making it extremely hard to book a room. Brian Chesky and Joe Gebbia, 2 young local designers, saw this and came up with an idea on a whim. If it's so difficult to book a hotel, why don't we offer a service of 1 bed and a breakfast for attendees? It'll have a good market. Without any delay, they teamed up with another colleague, Nathan Blukarczyk, to establish their homestay company, which would become Airbnb. So this company, now valued at more than $30 billion, began to take off. During the Industrial Design Conference, they did a good job and attracted 3 guests. That's right, when the great Airbnb opened for the first time, there were only 3 guests. For some time afterward, the 3 founders attended big conferences everywhere across America, hoping to expand their business by virtue of the shortage of hotels during the conference, but it didn't work. By the end of 2008, they were at the end of their rope. If there was no other way to attract investment, the company would have to close down. Then the 3 founders hit on another idea. They decided to sell cereal. At that time, the presidential election race between Barack Obama and John McCain was in full swing. The 3 founders thought it might be a good idea to sell a set of presidential-themed cereals. So they gave full play to their talents as designers to design cereal boxes for each candidate. Then they went all over San Francisco looking for the cheapest cereals. Finally, they found a kind of cereal priced at $1 per box. They brought the boxes back home, unpacked them, and put the contents in boxes of their own custom design, and started selling them for $40 a box. With this income, they miraculously paid off their previous debts and got through the most difficult period. However, selling cereal wasn't a long-term solution. So on the recommendation of a friend, the 3 founders decided to visit Y Combinator, a well-known startup incubator. They made an appointment to meet the founder, Paul Graham. Before setting off, Gebbia was so nervous that he didn't know what small gift he should present Graham at the first meeting. He thought, maybe I can bring 2 boxes of the president's cereal. But his 2 companions quickly put a stop to this crazy idea. During the meeting, Graham seemed uninterested in their project, arguing that Airbnb was a dead-end company and no one would want to sleep in someone else's bed. 10 minutes later, the 3 crestfallen founders were ready to leave. But then came the most dramatic moment. Joe Gebbia opened his bag and took out 2 boxes of the president's cereal. It turned out that he had secretly packed the 2 boxes of cereal in his bag before leaving. He gave Graham the cereals as a souvenir and told him a short story about himself and the president's cereal. As a result, on the way back, the 3 founders got a call from Graham. He said, "If you can convince people to pay $40 for a box of cereal only valued at $1 and a packing box valued at a few cents, maybe you can also convince people to sleep in someone else's bed." Then Graham invested $20,000 in Airbnb with 6% of the shares, giving Airbnb its life-changing investment. The second story is about Ray Kroc, born in 1902. The first half of his life was very ordinary. He worked as an ambulance driver, joined the army during World War I, and later sold paper cups and worked as a real estate agent. By 1954, Kroc was already 52 years old, but still an ordinary salesman of milkshake mixers. It seemed that his life would continue to pass along smoothly and peacefully. But one day, in 1954, Kroc got an order call. A small fast food restaurant in California ordered 8 milkshake machines at once. Kroc's milkshake mixers could make up to 5 milkshakes at once, which meant this small restaurant needed to make 40 milkshakes at the same time. It was unbelievable for small-sized restaurants at that time. Kroc found it interesting and made the life-changing decision to visit the restaurant. So Kroc drove 2,700 kilometers across America, from Missouri to California. He met the 2 brothers who owned the restaurant. One was Richard McDonald, the other Maurice McDonald, the McDonald brothers. He was inspired by the warm, convenient, and simple style of the restaurant. The moment he saw it, Kroc knew he saw the future of America. But the McDonald brothers didn't seem very ambitious. They just wanted to own a small fast food restaurant with a good local reputation and live peaceful lives. Kroc used his decades of negotiation experience as a salesman to ask the brothers for a franchise. It is no exaggeration to say that Ray Kroc deserves enormous credit for the fact that McDonald's has now become the world's largest fast food brand with a market value of nearly $150 billion and nearly 40,000 branches. The Golden Arches logo has become a fixture in almost every American town, next to the American flag and the church steeple. Today, the father of McDonald's is officially recognized as Ray Kroc, not the McDonald brothers. The final story is about FedEx. Today, FedEx is a logistics giant with a market value of nearly $40 billion and a history of nearly 50 years. But in its early years is a story so unbelievable that not even a novelist would dare write about it. In 1973, FedEx was on the verge of bankruptcy due to mismanagement. The founder, Frederick W. Smith, was desperate to raise money, so he mortgaged his own house and even tried to forge a lawyer's signature to draw money from his family's trust fund, which originally belonged to his sister. But it didn't work. On a Friday, with only a final $5,000 left in the company account, the company could barely afford to rent an office. In desperation, Smith made a decision right out of a bad movie. He took his final $5,000 and went to a casino in Las Vegas to bet on blackjack. Miraculously, Smith won $27,000. It was this money that kept FedEx going for another week. The next week, Smith got $11 million in financing to bring the company back to life. From these stories, it is clear that the talent and diligence of entrepreneurs are a part of the success of these great companies, but the importance of luck should not be underestimated. If Joe Gebbia hadn't brought the president cereal, if the McDonald brothers had passed Kroc and found another salesperson to order the milkshake mixers, or if Frederick Smith had lost that night in Las Vegas, then three great companies such as Airbnb, McDonald's, and FedEx wouldn't exist. Many successful people intentionally or unintentionally magnify their self-related factors and ignore the factors of luck in their achievements. They love to share their success stories, but even if they repeated the exact same steps all over again in exactly the same way, the results would most likely not turn out the same. The reason is that there are a lot of complicated factors involving sheer luck in this process, which cannot be replicated. This inexplicable luck is one of the greatest charms of the business world. Thanks for watching this episode of Thinking Spam. If you want to learn more novel and interesting facts, don't forget to click the button below and subscribe.